We're back. That's all we really need to say, isn't it? Maui Snake and I are here to bring to you another day of the Home Sweet Home Cup. We're on to week number 6 now. Is that right? Or is it 7? We're on to week 7 now. It's been a while, and you know what? Time flies when you're having fun, and we are. Hopefully, you are as well as we head into a fantastic game. Before that, though, Maui, you feeling good? You feeling all right?
Mm, I felt better, but I'm not feeling too bad. So
Well,
hopefully
listen,
we
I
get some
think.
exciting matches today to keep me up.
Well, we already have one of your favorites up in the card initially, and we've
Yes,
got Hard
yes.
Legion going up against Fate Esports, and you can hear Maui just internally saying yes, and you can see the groups right here. This is what we're going to be having today. If you're new to the Home Sweet Home Cup, we do have a double elimination bracket, so if anyone loses initially in the best of ones, don't worry, they still have a best of 3 to get through. Maui, Hard Legion versus Fate. What are you thinking?
This is going to be very difficult for Fate. Not only do Fate not play Overpass all too often with their actual five, I think they're playing with the stand-in. They're playing with Blocker instead of Duplicate. So we'll see. It seems like Blocker is doing quite well lately.
Hmm.
But the name on there in Duplicate, he actually won't be playing today. I think there's been a last-second substitute. We saw a substitute yesterday with Matt Modern
Modern.
stepping in. So we'll see how Fate are able to adjust. But if there's any team you don't really want to play with a substitute against in this group, to me, it's probably Hard Legion. They are likely the strongest team in this group. I mean, actually, it's up for debate a little bit. We'll see by the end of the day who comes out on top and who does come out on top at the end of this weekend in the playoffs. But if you had to take my word for it, I would say that Hard Legion are probably a team that if you slip for a second, Forrester is going to be shoving his deagle right into your face.
I mean, Forrester, Crad, both those players are so explosive. And then you add in the fact that there's also Rage with this AWP who has his moments. Let's not say that he is the best AWPer in the tier 2 scene or anything, not by a long stretch, but he has his moments, that's for sure. Now, on the other hand, Fate, it's a team that, they've had their moments of brilliance. They've had a few good games that they've gotten out against Pro 100 recently, against Movistar Riders, all these best of ones. They also 2-0'd AGF earlier on. I think they were supposed to be actually, they 2-0'd AGF to be qualified for the Home Sweet Home Cup week number 7, also taking down Hellraisers and whatnot there. So some pretty good stuff coming out from them. Certain things that do show impressive signs, especially when I look back even further. They 16-9'd Apex. It's a team that we both personally like quite a bit in terms of them having good structured in-game leader style Counter-Strike, where they also have some good players individually. So Fate are not without promise, but this is where you put that. There's a saying that Thorin likes to say, which is that potential literally doesn't mean anything, because that's kind of what it is, which is that you want it to be materialized. And this might be that avenue for materialization. Hard Legion, best of one, anything can happen theoretically.
Yeah. I mean, I can never underestimate the chance of an upset in a BO1 at this point. Complexity has shown me that now for 3 weeks straight, or every single time they're here, pretty much. But Hard Legion, they're not a team that's susceptible. They're a team that is susceptible to upsets. I mean, they're not foolproof by any means. On Overpass, which is the map that we will be going to, they don't always have the most consistent results. We've seen them lose to Secret pretty recently.
Yeah.
They've even lost to Gambit
Gambit
Youngsters.
youngsters, they got wrecked
Yeah,
on that. They picked it, they got wrecked on that. I saw that one. Oof.
yeah. So some of the results on the map don't necessarily give me assurance that like this is a sure. They don't by any means like. I love Hard Legion, but I am not actually always sure about their overpass. It's betrayed me before. Uh, and for Fate, I mean, I haven't seen really much of it. One thing I do want to bring up that is that Fate, actually, their coach, Bibby, is actually a guy that coached oftentimes in the MDL scene in North America. And he was actually my coach briefly.
Oh,
He was my coach for a season, actually. And so I'm interested to see what kind of tricks he's showing this team because we didn't really play Overpass, so I
okay.
mean, I never really got to pick his brain on the map. So We'll see what kind of structure he puts in place, um, and we'll see if Fate can use his or his coaching experience to the maximum effect.
Well, Fate do have a decent win rate on Overpass when I'm looking at it. They're 8-4, 67% win rate, pretty much, and they've got some decent wins. They've had some all right round scores as well. I'm looking at right now. They've recently defeated Movie Star Riders, who they did come through in pretty handedly in the Road to Rio, right? I think that's where they had a few good upset wins, the Movie Star Riders. And, I mentioned before Apex as well, Singularity, they almost took away from them, but they're not without promise. Again, just to go back to the earlier statement. So this should be interesting because now you're going to be seeing a comparison between a team that has a shallow map pool in the sense of Fate, where they don't really play 2 or 3 maps, where, I'm looking at the statistics overall. Otherwise, Mirage, it's a terrible win rate. Vertigo and Nuke is literally a 0% win rate. So when you have a team that generally specializes in 4 maps, which is a lot of these lower level teams who are trying to make it into that ranked 25 to 40, those 4 maps can be really, really good sometimes, in the sense that you can expect some good deep playbooks to come through, especially because this is something that I recently found out, and I'm sure Maui Snake can attest to this, that if you are a team who is new, you always want to have that one map where you're saying, yeah, but if we go against a better opponent, this map isn't played that much in the meta right now, so we'll have that in our map pool, and if we end up playing that, that can be a free win. So your first pick, gamble pick, so to speak. A lot of teams like Vertigo and Nuke these days, but Overpass is obviously probably the statistically best map to have as a viable pick, simply because so many teams these days aren't playing it. So I would imagine that Overpass is one of Fate's, hey, this is our upset maps.
Yeah, that's a good point. A lot of teams at the lower level, when you're playing in Mountain Dew League and some of those kind of BO1 type settings, you won't have to have the full map pool.
Hmm.
So it does allow you to just focus on what you're good at, just develop your strengths a lot. And everyone basically has to play Inferno. Everyone has to play Mirage. And then you kind of have a flex for your final two. And when teams go kind of in, the more tactical direction with like Train, Vertigo, or Nuke, it sometimes varies what their styles are a lot. Overpass is kind of a choice where maybe you trust your Opera a lot, because he has to do a lot of the work at A, and then you're also pretty set on some of your protocols. And at the same time, you probably actually just trust that you have pretty good mid range rifle players on your team, because that's kind of a lot of what the B bomb side is. A lot of like 50-50 duels, very quick fight. Okay, who's going to come out on top? There's like 1 second that decides a
Hmm.
fight and decides whether that bomb site is held or taken. So maybe Fate will have some skill in store for us here. When I actually look at the ratings of a few of these players, there's a lot to be impressed with. Mar, 1.11 in the
Yeah.
past 3 months. Harn, 1.09. Blocker, who is standing in, is at a 1.17. These are ratings that are, for the most part, just straight up higher than anyone on Hard Legion. I mean, some of their players, Crad and Forrester, do have pretty high ratings, but after that, they kind of fall off a bit. So I'm interested to see if Fate have actually more skill. I haven't really seen Fate too much, so I'm interested to just see if they can actually go toe to toe with them in terms of raw firepower, because I think
Yeah.
that will be something that I would normally give Hard Legion the edge to with most home sweet home teams. I think Hard Legion on just raw firepower is generally quite high when
Yeah.
you just put them in a kind of a DM setting.
I think it would be safe to say that they're one of the few teams who firepower wise can actually compete. Maybe I am going at a bit of a stretch here, but maybe compete with complexity. Even though,
Yeah, I
sometimes they
think
are a bit quiet.
I think it's the peaks that they hit are
Yes.
so high. Crad and Forrester especially, I literally feel like every time I watch them, if they're alive, it's not over yet. At this level at least. I feel like there's almost no team that can feel safe when Crad and Forrester are in a 2v3, even a 2v4. Wouldn't go as far to say 2v5, but just if their defense is a little bit shaken at some point, Fate that is, watch out. Crad and Forrester, they've been coming in hot in a lot of these games.
Yeah, well, listen, the knife round is live, so let's get into it. Hard Legion going up against Fate. We can see how things will transpire after our speculation. Woo. This is what I do to force production to switch away. This time it didn't work. Oh, well. Oh, okay. Thanks, production.
All right. So, yeah, we'll see who gets the favored CT side for this map. That being said, having watched enough Home Sweet Home games, I don't even really think that CT side is always that good for this level of play. Sometimes you want to just be attacking, just, dictate the pace, dictate where the hit actually is. Hard Legion, though, they do come out with a knife victory, so probably we'll see them on the CT side. And I just am not sure if Fate fall into a hole early on in this game, will they have the tricks necessary with a stand-in to come back? Because oftentimes with a stand-in, if you, kind of, I don't know, sometimes integrating that player can take various amounts of time. When I've seen stand-ins play, throughout the history of Counter-Strike, sometimes it's just like, oh, wow, this is a weirdly good fit, but that's very rare. But a lot of the times it's like, ooh, that was kind of a miscommunication, and they have to iron things out very quickly. So we'll see how quickly Fate can integrate Blocker, who is, once again, standing in.
I mean, Maui, one thing to keep in mind is pretty important is that Fate is uncontracted. They are no longer contracted to Fate Esports. They're just playing underneath the banner. So I'm guessing a lot of this is also just, hey, we're trialing people as we go for our next organization or when we re-sign with Fate. One or the other. So I would imagine that, they probably have maybe a little bit more. Oh, actually, hold on. Thought as we're seeing Crad getting some good information outside. Has to take the duels to be able to keep himself alive, but Zix and Blocker do take him down. Crad passed forward out too far and was caught out. The Glocks knew that they can pursue and that he wouldn't be able to get back towards toilets or back towards a site in time to get away. Now, with that man advantage, they head over to B. Fate, full utility still there. Zix has been tickled, but it is really just that. It's tickling. 13 HP doesn't really mean all too much. Now, it all comes down to Sviat. He's gotten himself the kit to try and defend. Forrest is on the other side. So that might be troubling. Sviat trying to do what he can. Smoke goes down as well, but it's actually Kinky to get dinked down. 8 HP on him, and here comes the bomb plant. This should be easy enough for them to be able to take away. Defense will not be easy. Sviat is nearby. Forrester has made his way over. He's got to pull off the hero moments, but Zix and Mar are still fighting up. Forrester with 1, 2v4. Kinky still around as well, but not much HP to work with. Forrester still trying to find his way out of this position, but Mar takes him down, and Kinky will follow. Mar with multiple kills along with Zar. Both of them doing, not Zar, sorry, Zix. Both of them doing a pretty good job.
Yeah, good kills for them there. Fate coming out with a pretty clean victory, all things considered. But now the Deagles of Hard Legion come out, and this is where you see some of that firepower come into place. Whereas pistol rounds, just a little bit more random. Sometimes you just get gushed by a Glock, and then you kind of mentally are just checked out of the round at that point. That is not what I have seen when I've watched Crad and Forrester with these weapons. We'll see what they're able to accomplish, but a very passive default from Fate to start out here. Good Molotov to clear some space out. Fade looks like they're using pretty good utility in order to gain some space, but let's see where they end up. The bomb is still all the way at spawn, but this is a nice little 2-2-1 here, and should indicate an A finish, but ooh, lying in wait are a few of these Deagles.
Crad is in a difficult position to rotate back to B from. And that could be troubling. Forrester is around, though.
That's a great smoke timing.
It'll reroute them over towards short, where Kinky can... Oh, even a resmoke, actually. That's great. But Nikli... Now, he knows where they are. He will be picking forward. Kinky doesn't get the initial shot, but he doesn't realize Forrester's right around the corner, but the corner has been reclaimed. Forrester can't get the headshots, and Sviato's left to try and save this deagle more likely than not. Not really much he can do here other than that. Maybe he finds a quick pot shot on anyone who's hunting around from connector, but more likely than not, that will be Mar with his Mac 10. So really not much to take home, even if you do get that kill. So again, very good, very clean anti-eco run coming up from Fate. They knew exactly what they wanted to do when the smoke came out towards Monster. No panicking and running through the smoke or anything of the sort. So really well played by them.
Yeah, that was a pretty nice adjustment from Fate. It was just quick and pretty simple as well. They didn't overthink it. They didn't waste too much time. They still kept taking more ground. And because of that, Hard Legion, you know, they felt the monster pop. They really thought that Fate was just going to bust on through there. But you know what? Fate, they didn't dig themselves into a hole, which a lot of teams end up doing on Overpass, where if they decide to reroute towards B, sometimes it's with, 40 seconds left, 30 seconds left. But Fate did it early enough there that even when Forrester did spot them towards that side of the map, they had plenty of time. They were not too worried, and it allowed them to walk all the way up short and have a pretty clean round right there. They didn't actually use quite as much utility as I would have liked to see to enter that B-bomb site, but at the end of the day, it still worked out for them, and their spacing was so good that sometimes manpower can just be all you need.
5-man long stack, Forrester and the Deagle. He unfortunately didn't get the kills he needed in the previous one. I really thought he would be able to get at least one more after that. But unfortunately, Forrester seems to be having a slightly quieter game today than we normally see. Of course, it's 2 rounds in, and I am speaking out of very little of a sample size, and that's a nice addition. You know what? There you go. Forrester, make me eat my words. I like that. I really do. Nickley as well, AK-47 in hand. Long-range duels where he's not getting much. Harn will take down Sviat in the meanwhile, although he does do some decent damage. Nickley will be the one to fall immediately afterwards. Harn still dueling up with this Galil. The AK-47 has been recovered by Rage, though. Can he get some more damage? Even the $300 loss kill bonus would be quite useful. He is the AWPer, keep that in mind. So utility is going to be a bit hard to buy for him in general. So anything you take away, anything you're able to add is always good. Forrester, in the meanwhile, he's still hunting. He still has that eagle. Can he get any kills?
Yeah, it would be nice if he does a little bit more damage here. Just one more kill can have a pretty big implication on the future of the economy of Fate. But he's just approaching towards long right now, looking around truck, and this looks like a pretty strong crossfire from Fate, all things considered. Ooh. And Harn, with a very nice angle there, will find Forrester. Rage? Oh, okay, he tosses one of the AKs away. But will still keep one of his own. That's also very nice to walk away with here. Just a couple kills. Would have loved a third, but retrieving that AK almost makes up for it in a way. Now, one of the players for Hard Legion, as Rage likely will upgrade to the AWP, will be dropped this weapon and can hopefully get rolling, use that one bullet headshot kill potential in order to secure his position. And it'll be Kinky to receive the AK there. So that's full utility on the side of Hard Legion. That's something you love to see for the first gun round there.
I would have also loved to see the AK on Crad, to be honest. He's really good with the first bullet. Forrester is great with the immediate burst, but I think Crad's first bullet, ooh, that is so nice to see. When he's actually rolling. Crad is a bit more inconsistent than Forrester, I would have to say. We've seen very, very, very spectacular moments, but not all that often. Meanwhile, yeah. Kinky, do you want to jump in on that? I don't mind letting you have some time, Maui. It's okay.
No, I just agree. Kinky though, playing here. Ooh, playing in the smoke. Can't actually find anything. And now Forrester, playing towards Monster, will be able to re-smoke this position. Fate, though, they've given themselves a lot of time in the situation, so they aren't too worried about it. Still 55 seconds remain. They're choked off of one of the points, but ooh, a nice little nade stack towards wood wall. It's just a shame that Forrester wasn't actually there. And Fate, I think they want to bust through the smoke. The flashes come out, counter nades as well. Forrester gets caught jumping right there, and Mar, a nice entry with that Mac 10. Sviat is able to pick up one, but just a single kill with a grenade. Fate, these are some explosive little plays coming out from them here, and Hard Legion somehow oddly not ready. I think the opening pick probably working against them. But on top of that, I don't think Hard Legion is getting enough control towards A to really discover that these are, in fact, B hits. I'm a little... I think just the flashes and the nades coming out from Fate, they're just so quick, and it's not some large execute or anything of the sort. Just, you know, a monster flash. I think, you know, a couple nades over. They're very willing to actually even announce their presence as they come on through, and this might be something that Hard Legion just isn't used to, where, you know, you see the nades, you see the players, and then you sometimes kind of second guess it. When you play against higher level competition, you'll just think, geez, they're really okay with showing us these players. There's no way they surely don't just go through after that, right? But Fate, they you know, it's a straightforward approach, and it's been working out for them. 4-0 start for them. Hard Legion, the most frags on anybody is just Forrester here. We'll see if he's able to add to that total, and if Kinky and Crad kicking it on the board, as they still have yet to find a frag in this game.
I think Krad's got one. But even so...
0, yeah.
Oh, okay. You know what? You're right about that. But even so, the problem that I'm seeing is that Hard Legion, even though I liked what they did in the previous round with Kinky kind of playing around in the smoke a bit, the point of him having the AK there is for him to get the initial kill. Let's not beat around the bush. The AK there is supposed to get that immediate kill in a 1 versus 1. I know they have AKs too, but you're coming out of dissipating smoke. You've got all those things. Crad now goes down. In the meanwhile, Rage does get 1, but the rest of the cleanup should be fairly straightforward. There are 3 Deagles, but how much they can do is going to be very limited, especially when Forrester is about to be wrapped around upon by Harm, who does take him down. 4 for nothing, likely to turn to 5 so far. Also a very good job of maintaining economy from the terrorist side as well. Very commendable. You can already see, other than Nickley, who's been other than Nickley and Zix, you've got everyone sitting around that $7,000 mark on average. Mar now, he just continues fighting out as well. Sviat will go down. Kinky, at this point, he's just another casualty. He's just another chalk line, you know. But Hard Legion isn't hitting their shots even when they're going for information plays, and that is one thing that we have to keep in mind. That the modern day CT side is largely built off of gathering information, yes, but in the process of gathering information, if you are getting a duel in front of you, your duty is to trade 1 for 1. Maybe get multiple kills, but that's not your duty. That's going above and beyond the line of fire. But you absolutely have to do that. So when your information gathering players are not getting the kills, and your information gathering players so far have been Crad and Kinky, who are both yet to frag, you can see the problems that are going to arise. Now, Crad, that's a good start. You know there's a few people coming in towards long. You're getting 1 kill as well onto Zix, and so far they haven't ever taken long without at least 2 or 3 people. So that's some good insight that you're going to be able to get from the back of that.
Yeah, necessary opening pick. I think this is probably the second time Hard Legion have found an opening frag. The other time was simply when Forrester hit it 1 Deag and the rest of his team had USPs behind him, so they couldn't convert that one, unsurprisingly. But this time, it's really up to them now to hunker down and see if they can hold on. Rage, kind of on an island here at A, though. This is a little worrisome. But with the utility in store for Hard Legion and this flank coming out from Sviat, I think there is a very good chance that they do, in fact, get this one here. Sviat, he doesn't actually spot anyone just yet. He will be finding this player on the flank, but Mar is holding the flank. That is actually crazy that Mar decides to look that direction, but I guess given his position, he didn't need to necessarily look on forward. And Fate, this is kind of what they've been doing. They've actually alerted Hard Legion of where they are going. It looks like it's a pretty genuine nade exec here. And with 20 seconds left, they pretty much just have to commit. I'm really surprised Hard Legion aren't rotating here. Again, it feels like Hard Legion is just kind of mind gaming themselves, but Rage still stays on the bomb site. He is able to find a kill there, and the retake is now commencing. 4v3.
For once, they have the numbers advantage in this retake, but can they materialize is the question. So far, Fate's been very good in crossfires, and you can see Mar taking down Rage there, but it's a 1-for-1 trade when you're a man down. That's not good enough, and Mar has to come up with more, and he will not be able to do so. Leaves Nickley alone, and Nickley has got Crad coming in from behind with the AWP, so he comes around, wraps around that bomb site, gets the first kill, re-peeks out, but it's Crad to take him down. Hard Legion will get their first round on the board. But even so, Fate, with the bomb plant, with their economy, with 3 people killed, and Hard Legion saving the double op, I don't think money's going to be particularly good for the CT side over here, Maui.
No, good stuff from Fate to get onto the bomb site. I'm just like, I'm still very surprised that Hard Legion hasn't caught on to what Fate's doing. That you know, it's actually just so much more straightforward than Hard Legion think it could be. It feels like they have all this information and they just second guess themselves. Rage, he will be given a lot of information as their players approaching him right into space here, but he isn't able to recover in time. Mar takes him down. A nice opening pick from the Fate side. Crad will have to step up now as he has the op. Hard Legion, they need to get aggressive at this point. I don't think that they can last just sitting on these bomb sites here. Fate have shown that when they are in positions with their executes, that if they have a numbers advantage, it is nearly impossible here. And you can see them just approaching right there. Great camera angle as they set up for the inevitable B hit. I don't even think they mind letting Hard Legion know. They've already thrown a little bit of utility to set this whole play up. And Hard Legion, they still don't have the information necessary. Rotating over finally is Forrester, but this will just only be the second player to defend this B site.
50 seconds on the clock. This is where you start to see them moving in. Forrester, great position for 2, but he backs off with only 1. Nade is dropped. It could get more, but it's only damage done. Kinky, in the meanwhile, gets a little bit burnt as he does get another kill, only to fall soon after. Blocker and Nickley completely opening up that A-bomb site. And once again, Hard Legion are unable to defend that B-bomb site now. You can see again and again they're losing early picks, and the only time they had the advantage while Fate was coming onto a side or was on the side already was in the previous round, which was the only one they capitalized on. And now you can see, listen, Hard Legion, you're looking at easily double digits from Fate if things keep going the way they are.
Yeah, it almost feels like a sure thing, actually, that Fate will at least hit 9 in this half. We'll see. Hard Legion, that was a good call from Fate, though, I have to admit. They threw kind of, I feel like that was more of a half exec where they smoked middle site, and I think they threw another smoke at one point. But then they just had enough nades, given that they found such an early opening pick on a Rage, that they were able to throw a very complete exec. Ooh, a little bit messy here on the spray from Zix. He is able to come out on top, but only has 6 HP remaining. Hard Legion, I mean, you're not happy about that at this point. You're not happy about just doing damage. It doesn't feel like the backline defense has been good enough on these bomb sites. Fate, it just feels like every time they want to get onto a bomb site, they've been doing so. Even in the round that Hard Legion won, it still was a nice Fate exec onto the A site, and there wasn't too much to be done other than a retake. So we'll see this time, though, if Hard Legion can play just a little bit better kind of off the site. We see that Crad is actually in connector here. I'm not sure if he'll find the timing. Mar is being very patient at the end of it, and he doesn't even really have to move. These B hits have been so strong that it's going to be up to Kinky and Forrester to try to find some great damage here. Kinky,
I love that.
I'm not sure if he's actually able to spot them, but he is able to find 1 kill. But Forrester can't come up with anything himself, and I'm really liking this from Fate. I've got to say, this has been a great mix. Rage somehow able to find 2 right there. This round might not be over yet. It's now a 1v2. One of these players is in short, but Rage doesn't seem too interested in that angle anymore. He will be approaching now from heaven, and he wants to see if he can find anything. Ooh, but that's a good flash, and I think he's no longer really given a chance after that one. Yeah, that's just too good utility, and Fate, they cleaned that up very quickly. That was getting a little bit sloppy for them, but I mean, actually, you know what? All things considered, that's not even that sloppy. It's a great shot from Rage. That he just kills one through the smoke. So not even really mistakes being made.
The other thing to very quickly outline is Fate's 2 players who come out from short, they just hug the wall while they're going up because they know that angle can't be seen, and that's so smart from them because they're able to put Rage in a position where he can't get onto his site in time to support Kinky. So Fate again out positioning them, showing how well they know Overpass. Kinky though has to win the duel, but he's got, oh no, Kinky's got a smoke in his hands and he will not be able to get out of this position. He does get one, but even that is basically a boon at this point. Zix has got great positioning as well. He can just keep an eye out for these players coming from Connector, take them all down. But Hard Legion at this point, you have to say, you absolutely have to, it seems like. But they feel pressured to get the round win, and why wouldn't they be? 4v2 now though, and Zix, great job staying on the alert, great job finding these players, keeping them humble, making sure they can't push forward, do any damage, and he's been a big part of their success as to why they've been able to maintain their economy this way, because of his shenanigans like these. Now, kills might not be the highest, but even so, he's getting the job done. But Maui, the one other thing I have to very quickly outline is that as Rage does take down Zix at the end of the day, the CT side playbook seems very shallow from Fit. We're not seeing anything aggressive coming out towards short. We're not seeing any creative optics to be coming through. The only time we saw them actually get much was when Crad was taking a very ordinary angle, looking out towards long, and he got that initial kill. Beyond that, CT side, listen, I've seen a few moments where they're trying to go for information. In particular, the one comes to mind where Kinky had the AK and came out of the smoke. But there's no kind of attempts at taking fast short control. There's no kind of attempts at making a play from Connector. There's nothing really there to say that, hey, we're more than just pedestrian.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. When I really think back at some of the other Hard Legion games I've watched on Overpass, a lot of the time it's just they're aim bailing them out of situations that are not necessarily all too favorable. They don't take map control with the same level of urgency that you'll see a lot of teams. Yeah, just the conviction, urgency. I mean, it doesn't feel like they really care to take even that much map control. They're so comfortable just playing on the bomb site, and we can see that once again. It's just 3 players on this B bomb site itself. Rage will finally get aggressive here, but this is a great angle from Nikki right here, just towards short. I'm not sure if he... Oh, he does recover and hit the shot. Nikki was able to find 2 body shots, but it's not enough. So Hard Legion, once again, they have an opening pick. Will they be able to convert? But once again, they're just so comfortable with this kind of lack of information across the board. Sviat is at least in long bathroom. Coming to support him will be Crad, but will Mar be able to dismantle this?
Oh,
he does with 1. Crad will push behind him. This should be a quick trade, but Mar is moving so quickly, so fast. It's not actually going to happen. And oh, that's the bomb down actually at front bathroom. Finally, Hard Legion are given a little bit of a break right here, but will they be able to convert off of it? Blocker just playing here towards short actually just holds the line. Forcer, a great trade. And finally, this feels like Hard Legion just have all the info, but still just a 1-man advantage. So very doable for Fate if they can group up and hit a bomb site together.
And it looks like they're going towards B as well. They've got plenty of time. That is the biggest benefit you can possibly have for Overpass, which is just that connector and how easily it can be exploited. Now, Mar's not even exploiting that, though. He's going all the way around. He wants to go for Monster, but not even running with a knife fight. I like this from him. He understands the timings perfectly to the extent where he knows that, all right, fine. You know what? I can actually go through. Great smoke will come in as well. The Molotov might be a little bit frustrating, though, as it comes onto the bomb. They do have a smoke on themselves. Mar does have that, but he plants the bomb away from it. Will take some damage. Forrester, in the meanwhile, trying to find Ham inside that smoke. Flashbang will not catch him out, and Han can't quite get that close range kill. Mar left in a 1v3. Can he fight this way out? Forrester's got the AWP picked up. Mar will have to move away. Wide swing out off that pillar, but even doesn't need to do that. He's got the 3K. Mar. Whoa. They all beat him 1 by 1. I thought he'd have to get a wide swing and do some crazy flicks, but they just gifted to him.
I hate this from Forrester, honestly. There becomes a point where he trusts his aim too much to a fault here. He had plenty of time to reload that A1S that he got that first kill with. Instead, just running around the bomb site with a USP out. I mean, it's really all you can hope for if you're Mar at that point. Didn't really even have to isolate the angles as Hard Legion approaching from 3 different sides.
Oh!
Sviat, he wanted to, you know, create a little bit of chaos, turn the round on its head a little bit, but he's only able to find 1.5 kills right there. Good damage and good intel, and I think Crad might be able to play off of this pretty well, but he knows he can't approach and flank too easily, given that there is still that Opper. He saw the barrel, I think, and this should be a free kill for Crad, and so we will find that. Low HP on the remaining Fate players, and this is actually looking like a pretty good opportunity from Hard Legion as he finds another. Crad just dominating them. Actually, it found him right now, another on top of that, and he is going for the 4K here. Nicky does know where he is, but with just 25 HP, I think Crad will find that as well. Good round from him, and Hard Legion, they really needed that at this point.
Can I just say that the Fate names are really confusing to me at times, because I just realized it's Nicky, not Nickley, because I thought the one was before the I. I've been misreading that the entire game. And also, it's not Ham, it's Harn. Or is it Ham? I can't tell. Like
it is Harn. It is Harn.
It's Harn. Yeah, okay, because in the interface, it kind of looks like it's Ham.
Yeah.
And I'm so confused half the time when I'm casting this.
Yeah, their names are not they're not really easy given the just shapes of the actual this alphabet. So
okay, that's nice, a good shot from Ray. Just an easy name, but Sviat's got an easy shot onto Mar. 2-man advantage early on from Hard Legion. I like this change of pace from them, but Fate still have gotten quite a few rounds. The question is, can Hard Legion prevent them from double digits? So far, so good. Zix can't get that trade, has revealed himself, and now it's all up to Crad to just finish him off once the smoke does dissipate. Flashbang comes in, great kill from Zix. Finally, one of their flashes do end up working out for them. Before that, it seemed like Crad could not be flashed. 50 seconds on the clock, and this is where Fate generally starts to make a move, but with 2 players left, there aren't too many moves you can make without getting afraid. Okay, Rage. All right. Fine. I'll give you more credit, Rage. You don't have to fight like that. Zix is left in a 1v4. Rage should be able to get this one as well, but he misses that shot, only to have Forrester come in from the side, finish things off. And now, you can see the terrorist side economy is getting to that point where if they lose one more round, you know what? They might have some weakness in their buy. Still shouldn't be much, but even so, could be a small opening for Hard Legion.
I like this timeout from Fate, though. They know that Hard Legion is picking up a little bit of momentum here, and they probably have to hash out their buy. Mar could drop Nicky into this round, but at that point, he will have a pretty low util buy. I think Mar just has to bite the bullet a little bit here and walk away with maybe not ideal util. We'll see. Oh, is he considering a glass cannon? Nope. All right. He'll just go for pretty standard buy. Interesting to see that Nicky doesn't buy a Molotov despite having 800 extra dollars. Usually those are the things that you will definitely pick up given the circumstance of this game. But it will be a pretty complete buy regardless, and Sviat wants to continue the aggressive play towards Connector, which Hard Legion has found to be their point of success. Rage, ooh, he's peeking between a few different angles, and he doesn't choose correctly at that moment there. Kind of bunny hopping away, maybe missing an opportunity for a refrag, but he still will pick up the kill onto Mar. This is looking like a pretty fast play towards A, but Rage just shooting through the smoke takes down Nicky, and a 4v3 advantage for Hard Legion. They've been doing pretty well at converting these at this point, and that will make it even easier when Rage takes down Zix, just leaving Blocker and Hard.
If they win this, Rage is the one who's brought them back into it. Let's not make any mistakes about it. 13 kills, 8 deaths so far. Fantastic play coming out. He's finding kills through smokes, through doors. It doesn't matter what you put in front of him, he will kill you, which is a scary thought. In the meanwhile, though, Blocker and Ham have to try and pull off a 2v4, one better than the 2v3 they did manage to get earlier on. Now, Rage is still alive. He is still the big raid boss to take away, and you don't have utility, so things get even more difficult. The flashbang from Blocker might be able to blind out Crad, but the question is, can you get the job done? Crad will not go down. He does get some good damage, which allows Rage to use the distraction to his advantage. Can this be an ace to come through from the man? Yes, it can, but it will not be. Blocker left in a 1v2, 18 seconds on the clock, no bomb possession either, gets one more and out to a 1v1. Can he get it? Yes, he can. 4 kills for Blocker, 4 kills for Rage. but one of them ends up taking the round away, and the other will be flaming his teammates.
That is unbelievable. Rage does nearly everything he can. It actually takes his own teammate to stop him there. That flash came out from Crad, actually, and just fully blinds Rage and makes him just kind of lose his bearings a little bit there, makes him go for the no-scope, and you even see the assist right there on the kill feed. Crad with the flash assist on Blocker's kill right there. Good pickup at the end, though, from Blocker. Those were some 50-50 fights that he came very much on top of. And now Hard Legion, at this point, you kind of feel like you're out of it. Nikki somehow only has a deagle, despite what I thought was more money for Fate, but that might be the only saving grace for Hard Legion in this round. There's not much else that they can be too happy about. They do still have the op on Rage, but the utility is already looking pretty shallow for them here, as they only have 2 smokes remaining, and I think both of those are
That got really dangerous for Shiat. He got the jump spot, got the information. You know what would be really crazy, Maui? If you could run boost over that concrete wall and just go from connector to B side.
That would be so annoying. I'm not.
That would be so
That'd
entertaining.
be the worst. It'd be entertaining, but it would be the worst as a B player. It is just like, it's already hard enough to defend that bomb site. Imagine if he was flying in there. Oh, Crad. He has to worry about shots through the smoke right here. He thought he found a one-way. Is able to do some good nade damage, but in return, he is taken down to 2 HP. It's going to be up to Rage, it looks like, to try to defend this here. Ooh, he gets aggressive, but he doesn't like his chances on that angle. They're approaching from everywhere.
Oh!
He finds a beautiful 1D right there. Crad is forced all the way back. He cannot push this Molotov given that he only has 2 HP. Somehow still able to find a single kill. But this is the entire bomb site taken from them.
Nikki, we talked about that deagle being the only weakness, but that is a strength that opens up the bomb site. 3v4. The cities have to break down the door, get in, and defuse. It's Forrester with a good boost who's able to get one. Can he get more is the question. Doesn't look like it. Blocker on the sidelines, the savior of the previous round, will be the one to take this one home as well, potentially, as Kinky's been left alone in a 1v2, which will be his demise. Fate once again come out on top and are now staring down the barrel of a 12-3 with CT side money being as low as it is, all off the back of 3 great shots from Blocker and Nikki. What a round coming out from them.
Blocker is nuts. He was on Wendigo when they took WESG, but not really the most talked about player. Definitely more people remember Bubble and Poison, and to an effect Ships, who was actually in this group against him. I really have been sleeping on this guy, apparently. I mean, I haven't seen much of Blue Jays International, which is the team he's currently playing for, but regardless of that fact, for a 4v4 situation right now, Nikki is already out towards Monster. He found a kill to get this position, and he's looking for more. The spray comes in. Ooh, I thought he was going to be able to take down Crad, but he actually gets him down to 8. Weird Molotov actually somehow doesn't burn Crad in that position, and he will be able to escape. But Zix is already here. He's out Monster right now, and it looks like this will be a full-on hit towards B. Harn is able to take down Sviat, which leaves Crad, who still, reminder, has just 8 points of health. Should be quick work for Fate as they now try to scale onto the site. Oh, this is an interesting boost.
Could be catching a few of them out. Rage. What are you looking for? What are you going to find? Sees the head of one. It's Zix to fall. That's a bomb with it. 2v2 now, so at least the advantage is regained. But Fate, HP still very much in their favor, along with the 3 flashes that they have managed to secure. Now, Crad is taking the long way around, rotating all the way towards Heaven. Rage on the sidelines will be flashed and flashed and flashed potentially, but it's Crad coming from above. He's taken down. Harn was checking that angle before as well. He expected it when they take so long to come on. Rage will be swinging out wide. Mar takes him down, and Fate with an excellent read, because they knew that if they're not coming in onto the bomb site while the bomb's being planted, if they're not using any utility, if they're not showing any presence, if they're not trying to deny us, that probably means one of them is going towards Heaven.
That was an excellent first half from Fate. I don't even know where to start. Their execs were great. the individual performances from Mar and Blocker were very notable, and I mean, every late round situation as well, they were able to capitalize on. It feels like usually in a match, you know, you can get a couple of those going. You can get your execs and maybe your firepower is going, but then maybe you'll lose some clutches, you know? Like, you can't get it all. But Fate just did that. They had the opening picks, they had the clutches, they had the better strats, setup. I mean, everything felt like it was going their way. And for Hard Legion to come back, they will need everything that Fate did and just a little bit better, I think.
They're pretty good. They're pretty good. Let's put it that way. Blocker coming in from the sidelines. Harn takes down Fiat in the meanwhile. Good start once again. CT side, Fate looks to be doing no differently, getting the early man advantage. Harn repositions himself as well. So have to be careful though. Nicky will be the one to fall. Forrester is able to overwhelm him from there. The B-bomb side is relatively undefended. Zix is playing retake on it. Do they have a kit? No, they don't, because Blocker was supposed to be the one cutting off the heads of anyone who wanted to dare come in from Monster. Unfortunately, he does end up falling. Zix and Mar now have to defend this B-bomb side. Zix, long range deals being taken. The USBs do tag Crad down to 1 HP, but they're not fortunate enough to kill him. Zix is still fighting, but this is a very difficult fight. Harn is trying to take this really interesting angle over here, but Forrester in the meanwhile takes down his teammate, and I think this might be a lost cause for the CT side, as Ma, even he can't find his way out over here. Harn left in a 1v situation, pulls out the Glock, might have been out of bullets to be honest, but even so, only gets 1 kill before he goes down. At the end of the day, it's $300, it's nice, it's great, but a match pause coming out. Was Blocker DC'd? I don't think Blocker was DC'd, right? No, it's a TeamSpeak issue coming out from Hard Legion. All right.
From Hard Legion there, but still a huge hill to climb. They are down 8 rounds. Scoreline 12-4 right now in favor of Fate. And this does not look good for Hard Legion. Even after winning that one, it feels like Fate has been so on point in these rounds that I mean, I mentioned it to start the pistol round that really everything just has to go Hard Legion's way. They have to find opening picks, they have to be able to convert, and they probably will need a lot of luck on top of that. So we'll see if they can do that now that they are dictating the tempo of this game a little bit more forcibly, given that they are on the T side. I don't know. I guess we have time to talk about it here. I think Fate did a lot of things right, but Hard Legion kind of missed out on a lot of the normal kind of CT, just kind of like the control that I would see most CT teams have. And it took until round 10 or so for them to start fighting in connector. And they never, I don't think they ever took water, which I don't think I've ever seen that from a CT side, that they don't for a whole half take water.
Yes.
That just feels, that's unheard of to me, actually. Usually that's pretty much as a B player, your two things you have to think about are usually, okay, how do we hold the site with 3 or 2 players, because sometimes that other person will be at A, or just, you know, to defend an exec in general, and how do we take water? It's kind of like the 2 things you need to know. A lot of teams nowadays have kind of modernized their approach to water takes, where it's not such an all-in play towards it. It's usually just, you know, they jump spot a few times and they realize, hey, by the way, none of the T's are in water. You can just walk there and just take a good one and done angle, or, you know, a good spot that you like, usually by the sign or kind of in the cubby position. Like, there's a lot of good spots you can take in there, and I never saw Hard Legion play in any of those. That's not how you probably should be playing the B side. In fact, I'm not even going to say probably. It's not. It's not how you should be playing the B side. You should pressure water. And Hard Legion were just a little bit too comfortable just sitting on the bomb site. And I think that may have been due to them thinking, you know, it may have been underestimating their opponents. They just thought, you know what, we'll just play on the bomb site. We'll let it come to them. And kind of shows a lack of just set procedures for the Hard Legion side, that maybe they do rely on their individual ability a little bit too much.
There's a polite way of saying it and there's a rude way of saying it. I'll say both. The polite way is, you know, Fate, they beat the opponent that's put in front of them. And the rude way is saying that, listen, you put a taller in front of them, they will crush his skull. So at the end of the day, Fate did a lot of things right, but Hard Legion, it didn't look like they'd learned how to walk on overpass yet. But you know what? It's a learning process, and it seemed like they are running as they get the opening kill, only to be traded away. Still, Mar's been tagged down pretty heavily, enough so that Kinky can take him down, and now it's a 4 versus 3. Blocker, Han, and Zix left to try and fight a very difficult battle, especially when you consider Crad is right behind them. Crad, not sure what you were waiting for.
I think he probably wanted a knife or something. Blocker pushing on forward. Is taken down, Zix. The Glock comes out, and Crad is able to find the kill.
You know what, Maui? I know exactly what was going on in his head right there. He's estimating the amount of time it'll take to get him to that player while pressing shift with a knife out. And then he's saying, what's the likelihood of him turning around? Because he's jumping around everywhere anyway.
What was weird to me is that the player that was jumping around actually turned before Crad even shot. He just kind of decides to look towards CT. It's like, I don't know if he was thinking he needed to rotate or what there, but usually you're pretty hard fast on just the jump spot in those kind of positions. It was a little funky to me, but you know, not too much to take away from it, and just a interesting point of that round. Forrester pushing on forward is able to take down Zix, who is playing a very good off angle. I have to say that if people dry walk in, that can be very deadly, but it's just a shame that Zix didn't have any better weaponry, because he did really catch Forrester off guard there.
Fate so far yet to get a CT side round. I'm not too worried about it yet, because of course the gun runs haven't been pulled out. But you know what? Maybe they have a slightly limited CT side as well. Maybe Hard Legion can try to exploit that. And maybe this is where Hard Legion can really put their firepower to good use. Because before we were seeing that, listen, at the end of the day, it's very convenient to sit back and wait for the frags to come to you, but on the T side you're forced to be proactive, so that aim doesn't just go away in the middle. But hopefully the moves that you're making will be catching Fate off guard, and they're probably not used to you anyhow, so maybe there's a world where we might see Hard Legion bringing this all the way back.
Oh, aggressive fight towards CT, or T-spawn will only find a single kill. Harn gets the kill on a Rage. It's a nice one at that, but not too consequential. I don't think... Ooh, actually, you know, that kill allows him to at least buy an extra flashbang. So, you know, there's a little bit of value in that, as there usually is in just a single kill, but we'll see if that even really comes into play here. Hard Legion finally will be facing off against a gun round from Fate on Fate's CT side here. Mar getting very aggressive early on, and this is what's so scary if you're Hard Legion and the opponents have so many rounds to play with here, that they can just make little plays like that, you know, wide swing with a nade out, do a lot of damage with that. Thankfully, it's on the opposing Opper for Hard Legion's sake, but we'll see if that comes into play in the future. Fate can kind of gamble with these rounds now, though. That's my main point. They can go for some crazy pushes if they want some late round plays here or there, and even fight for some retakes that they otherwise would probably save on. So we'll see if Fate use that round, this huge round advantage, in their favor.
Very interesting setup from the CT side at this point in the round. They're not rotating at all. Now you see Mar getting a bit aggressive towards connector. That was a CT side flash. Yes, that was a CT side flash. Okay, so they should have some inkling that they're coming in towards that B bomb site. You can see them starting to cluster around. 35 seconds left on the clock. Zix is waiting for some company to come in from the CT. It's Blocker who will be able to smoke them off. Great timing on the smoke that comes in. Great shot onto Crad as well. Zix swings out. It's Mar to back up from connector. Gets himself 2 kills, and Sviat has been left alone. Hard Legion waited too long. The smokes came through. The mollies came through, and they tried... Actually, even the pathing was incorrect going on to the B bomb site. When the first player coming out from short is swinging towards Monster, expecting someone to be close. That's very interesting pathing over there.
Yeah, I feel like there might have been a call or something. There's usually that guy is just dedicated towards running out the bridge, and usually if he does make that kind of adjustment, it's usually an audible that just like, oh, there's a guy playing close monster, we think. But that's kind of the CT play from Mar that I expected a lot more from Hard Legion, where just kind of hanging out in connector. Oh, the B exec is happening. All right, I'm just going to run down and just shoot him in the side of the head. And he did a great job at that. It also probably has been afforded to him, given that Fate have such a big round lead, that they can take a few more risks in situations like that, whereas Hard Legion were on the back foot for the entire first half. Crad does some damage to Harn there, who is able to escape with his life. And water control being taken by Hard Legion. It seems like they really favor this when they're on the T side, but surprisingly had no interest in the first half for this position.
You know, that actually makes sense to me. As Forrester does get a good boost in, takes down Ziggs. He's still fighting for some reason. Blocker will get the trade. That's really questionable at times, to continue fighting on after you've got the man advantage this early on into the round. But alright, 4v4 is still an advantage for the T side. They can still go over towards A, which looks to be the potential destination on the charts. Long control has been established, but Kinkies might be wanting to come past Divider. Initially, all comes down to whether or not Harn can get one kill and back off to safety. If he's traded away, it becomes a bit more tricky. But now, as I say, that Blocker and company have made their way onto the B-bomb site, not the B-bomb site, sorry, onto the A-bomb site, where Optimus gives them a lot of cover. Harn, 25 seconds on the clock. Great angle to be scoped in on. They're going to be moving across. He gets that first kill. They don't have flashes to keep him blind out. Bomb has been dropped. He misses the next shot. They will be moving in and moving through. He re-peeks that, only to be taken down. But with 14 seconds left on the clock and Nikki on the back lines, they now have to move onto the side so quickly. They can't check these angles. Mar gets one. Mar gets two. Great play. Great positioning from Fate over there. Recovering everything they needed to. And 14-6, Hard Legion. Once again, I question why Forrester would keep peeking forward after he's got the man advantage.
That was a little bit strange, I will admit. But also, again, Fate. I mean, an A exec comes out and they're already on the flank at connector. Fate is just dominating this map in terms of control. The entire game has been all about how they have owned connector. I think Hard Legion only had it maybe 2, maybe 3 rounds on their CT side where they really, really owned it. And I don't even think they used it to the fullest effect when they had it. But this time around, Fate, they don't even care if they're going in late round to connector. They're sometimes fighting it in the beginning, but that round, once again, we saw Mar flank just a couple rounds prior when the B hit came out from Hard Legion. This time it was Nikki who came out on top of that and was able to kill the player at Divider. Just great stuff coming up from Fate here. They are they're looking very well versed on this map despite having a stand-in.
Harn is waiting for them to come through. Blocker's actually found a kill already on the crowd again. Blocker was a stand, right?
Yes.
Well, he's pretty good. He's pretty good as a stand-in. Nikki,
Great.
Another kill, another kill, another kill. All day long, the M4A1 is able to get some good pot shots in. The Deagle can't take down the Oppa, and Mar will finish them all off. Sviat left alone in a 1 versus 4. No chance of a hit to prevent Fate from getting the match point, and Fate has very convincingly gone over towards upset territory, where now they are... I would even go as far as to say that now they're practically guaranteed to win in this best of 1.
Yeah, there's really no hope for Hard Legion in this one. I'm not going to be able to push. This is pretty much over. It just doesn't even feel like fundamentally Hard Legion are giving themselves chances in these rounds. It feels like Fate is just completely outplaying them on the macro scale, along with the fact that their players are just doing just doing better mechanically speaking as well. Mar has looked so sharp, Blocker as well. Even Harn with the op has had some nice rounds too. Hard Legion, I feel like they just need to wake themselves up. I know they are a lot better than this. I've seen them play Overpass before. They had a double OT game against Secret that I casted, and that showed a lot more prowess and just promise. This time around, I feel like they're missing out on a few things that they're usually very consistently good at. Nikki with a nice opening pick there. Good flash, actually, but Harn isn't blind by it. So Forrester will be taken down, and 3v5 situation. Match point. It looks like Fate is destined to take this one.
One might even say it is their fate.
I was using the synonym with their destiny, but we could spell it out for the viewers as well.
Yeah. You have to, Mao. You know this. Crad boost it up. It's found them some kills before. Can they repeat their success? Many times over. 50 seconds on the clock, and Fate are not taking any risks. They're not taking any angles which would let them be spotted. Instead, it's just some good off angles over towards Monster. Now, that does open up things for Crad to move past if he can just take down Han. Han is the only person who's actually defending the bridge, so maybe they can get something out of this if they just get a very quick one tap, but it's so difficult to do that. They smoke it off. Crad with a great kill comes through onto Zix. Rage even follows up. It's a 3v2, and now things are possible. Han playing from water. Can he move forward? No, he can't, because Nikki prevents him from needing to do so. 8 seconds on the clock. Mark comes in from this side, and things have been finished off very nicely. Fate take it away, 16-6. Very, very, very well done from them.
Yeah, that was a very convincing victory for them. Not too much to say on the positive side for Hard Legion. I was hoping for a little bit more from Forrester, Crad, but it was really Rage who actually stood out. I guess that is the one positive. That Rage, who has been kind of inconsistent from the games that at least we've seen from them, he had a couple shining moments in this game, but, you know, all in all, I don't even know where to begin with Fate. I mean, their macro decision-making was incredible. It felt like they were always flanking. Even the very last kill of that game, very fitting, was on the flank. I mean, he shot a player that wasn't looking at him. I think I saw Mar and Nikki both really capitalize off of that connector position, just aggressing towards it in the late round. Something that Hard Legion did not do. But to bring it back, Fate T-side just showed everything. You know, solid defaults, good trades across the board. Very strong executes, and I just love how when they got into position, they had a multitude of strategies that they could run from that, whether it was contact plays, set execs, or kind of just like a quick single flash play. Like they had it all.
And of course, to add on to that, on top of everything, Blocker and Marman, what a performance from them on that terrorist side as well. You saw them winning multiple clutches. You saw them getting some fantastic few rounds. Blocker in particular got out 2 rounds, which guaranteed them not just double digits, but 12 at the end of the day. So mad props to him for standing in, and I'm hoping that he's able to show something similar in the best of 3 coming up next. But one thing to keep in mind is the fact that I talked about this before. Teams with 4 map pools generally have very deep understanding of the map, and you did see that coming in, but the question then becomes, are we going to see that coming in the best of 3 that they're going to be playing? And if you're wondering, well, you keep talking about this best of 3 tea time, who are they playing the best of 3 against? We don't really know yet, but you're about to find out very soon, because Contact versus Smash will be coming up next, the winner of which gets to play Fate in a best of 3 series. Back in just a bit, as we'll take you through all the action today in Home Sweet Home.